How do I turn my retirement savings into retirement income? Many women I talk to have done a really good job of saving for retirement. They have a 401k and or an IRA, and it looks like they have a solid nest egg. And then they get to this point and think, okay, now what? How do I actually turn all of that into retirement income? And honestly, that's the part that no one really teaches any of us. Saving for retirement is one thing. Turning it into a paycheck, that's a completely different skill. And this is where a lot of women get stuck, because now the questions change. It's no longer, how do I grow this? It's, how do I use this? How do I spend this without messing it up, without running out? And of course, there's so much fear associated with this. Fear of taking too much, even taking too little, running out of money, or making decisions that can't be undone. So I want to slow this down and walk through this in a way that actually makes sense. You may have heard of something called the 4% rule. The idea of the 4% rule is that you can take 4% of your money each and every year in retirement and everything will just work out. And while this can be a good starting point, it's really not a plan, because the 4% rule doesn't account for taxes, timing, market ups and downs, your lifestyle, or the fact that your life is going to change over time. So instead of focusing on a percentage, I want you to think about building a retirement paycheck. So let me show you what that actually looks like. There are 4 parts to this. And once you understand these 4 parts, everything will start to feel a lot more clear. First, your base income. This is your foundation. This is the income that you can count on. For most women, this foundation will include Social Security and sometimes, let's say, a pension. This is what covers your essentials. And I also refer to this as your guaranteed income. It will cover essentials like housing, food, basic living expenses. And this is really important because the more of your essentials that are covered here, the more flexibility you have everywhere else. Now, let me give you a simple example. Let's say your monthly expenses are, $5,000 and your Social Security is going to be $2,500. So now you have a $2,500 gap between your guaranteed income source, Social Security, and your monthly expenses. The good news is you're not starting from zero. You're focusing on filling that gap, that $2,500 gap in this case. That shift alone can change how you think about everything. Second is your flexible income. This is where your savings comes in. This is how we use your 401ks and your IRAs and your investment account to fill the gap. This is the money you draw from to cover the rest of your life. But here's the key. This really shouldn't be rigid. In some years, you may take more. In other years, you may take less. If the market's doing well, you might feel comfortable spending more. If the market goes down, you might pull back slightly. That flexibility is what protects you. Because the biggest mistake I see is people treating retirement income like a fixed paycheck when it actually needs to be adaptable and flexible to your life and to your needs. The third component is your tax strategy. This is the one almost no one talks about enough, because it's not just how much you withdraw, it's where you withdraw it from, and it's about keeping more, paying less taxes than you legally have to. So for example, money from a traditional IRA or 401k is taxed as income. Money from a Roth IRA account is tax-free. And that difference matters a lot because this impacts how much you keep, your tax bracket, and even your Medicare premiums. So 2 women could withdraw the same amount of money and end up with very different outcomes. That's why tax strategy isn't optional. It's part of your income plan. Fourth, your buffer. This is your safety net. This might be cash, a savings account, or maybe some conservative investment. And this piece is simple, but incredibly powerful because it allows you to do one very important thing, not sell investments when the market is down. And that one decision can make a huge difference over time. All right, let's pull all this together. You have your base income, your flexible income, your tax strategy, and your buffer. This isn't just a portfolio. This is a system, a retirement income system. And this system is going to give you something most women are really looking for. Confidence that your money can support your life, confidence that you can adjust when needed, and confidence that you're not just playing a guessing game, because retirement should not be a guessing game. The goal here is not to be perfect, ladies. The goal is to be prepared. And I want to say something really important. You do not need to have everything figured out all at once. You don't need the perfect number, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan. What you need is a structure, a way to think about this that makes your decisions easier, because once you have that, everything else will fall into place. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't really have a plan for how my my money turns into income, guess what? You're not behind. You're just at the point where this is starting to matter more. And this is one of the most important parts of retirement planning, because once you have that financial foundation, once you have a retirement income projection and you know how all of your guaranteed income sources and your expenses and those 401ks and IRAs, how they're all going to work together to give you that peace of mind and protection and security and reliability and sustainability, all of the things, you're going to feel so much better as you approach retirement and you transition into retirement and live in retirement. If you want help seeing how all this can work together for you, I invite you to check out my More for Her collective. It's where my system and a RetireMentor walks you through all this step by step so that you can start connecting the dots between your money, your income, and your life. Because I believe retirement isn't just about what you've saved, it's about how you use it. Here's to knowing more, having more, and living more, and getting her done.